Hello and welcome to Journeys of Hope, a podcast inspired by the strength, resilience, and unshakable spirit of medically fragile children. Now, each episode, we share powerful stories of young warriors who face extraordinary health challenges alongside their families, caregivers, and medical teams. Through unwavering love, expert care, and hope, these children show us what it means not just to survive, but to thrive. My name is Rebecca Solomon, and this is Journeys of Hope. Let's begin. Now, we see remarkable recoveries on the regular at Blithedale. There's one story I want to highlight on this episode, as it was the very first patient story I personally witnessed after joining the incredible team at the hospital. Theresa Timmons spent 15 months as inpatient in intensive rehabilitation after suffering multiple injuries in a car accident. She's made great strides learning again how to walk and talk, and she was discharged in May of 25, but she remains a familiar face around Blithedale. The teen returns daily to attend the School of Mount Pleasant Blithedale Union Free School District. And through our day hospital, she receives medical oversight from physicians, nurse practitioners, and other clinicians, while also receiving comprehensive therapies. And at night, she returns home to her family. So it's pretty safe to say between school, therapies, and at home, her support system is mighty. Now, on this podcast, we have the pleasure of hearing from two of her strongest supporters, her mom, Laura, and her physical therapist, George. Hello, both of you.
Hello, how's it going?
So, Laura, I would like to start with you. When you think back to the day of the accident, what moments stand out the most for you now? And what were those early days at Blithedale like for you and your family emotionally?
In my head, I just felt like she was going to be fine. I don't know why. I felt like she was alive, determined, determined to get her better and waiting for each thing, just it was a lot of time. I couldn't watch TV, couldn't listen to music, couldn't, I'd just sit there.
I mean,
Just
you were probably like full pace when you
praying.
got the call. It was
I
like,
didn't get a call. It was outside my house. So I drove up because she wasn't home, but still didn't think it was her. Um, so I was in shock.
she goes from critical care and she's then being admitted to Blithedale. Tell us why you knew you wanted her to go to Blithedale.
Well, I looked up stuff, did some reading. I wanted to be able to sleep there with her. Very, very important. And I definitely made the right decision.
Tell us, as a mom, right, what those early days at Blithedale looked like for you and your family. You already said you had the opportunity to sleep there, but what was it like for someone who doesn't know anything about Blithedale as a family coming into the
Um,
hospital?
the second we got in, they showered her right away. It's kind of like you were going like to a red carpet and a different. Like everybody was extremely attentive, like on every single thing the second you got there. There was no like wait a week, wait days, no um helpful, just like it was like a ray of sunshine, maybe, like I'd say. Just coming in there. You just got right in and everybody got right on it. And it wasn't just because you just got there. It was constant. I felt like I lived there. I had my own drawer, my own cabinet, shower, laundry, microwave, um, really everything you need. Sometimes I didn't go outside for days.
Um, And then over the 15 months as an inpatient, what do you think has been the most remarkable moment in Teresa's recovery? What would you say is that moment as her mom?
The therapy. George knows I love him so much. I really I can't even think of anybody I met that may have come across in a fake way or like a way like, you know, this is just my job. I don't really care kind of thing. I didn't experience that there at all.
We know Teresa got the support she needed through all of her therapies and rehabilitations. How were you supported as a parent?
I have a lot of family and friends, and the hospital offers that stuff.
Mhm.
For me, I didn't really take it, but I did meet some really nice families. Um, I didn't take it because I felt like I had enough of it around me. I did do a little bit, but it is there. But I had plenty. And when I would get there with Teresa, it was like our time, like mine and her time and alone time kind of thing. And the relationships with the therapist was great, you know?
The relationships you were building with the therapists and the medical teams, that alone was just that was support for you. That in itself probably helped you along the journey.
This is true love, compassion, and care. They don't waste a minute. Um, they're very organized,
It's
but
great.
they care. Like George thinks about his work at home. I know he does. I
George, you don't turn the switch off?
Um, it's I can. It's not impossible, but there are certainly some days where there's a issue or problem that needs to be solved with potential, getting a child home discharged or a barrier that I'm hitting with somebody that I just can't quite figure out during the 9 to 5, that yeah, then it comes with me home and it's in bed with me and I wake up with it and but I get here, but inspiration can strike randomly. I'll be out to eat with my family or doing something out on the weekend, and then I have an idea and I'm like, oh man, I really need to get this going and try it. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But I do think about it at home, maybe maybe too much, but trying to have that work life balance is also important as someone in this field, because it can completely consume you if you don't have that.
How are you assigned a case like Teresa, and what goes through your mind when you're given that assignment? And is it something, your goals that you set out for her, are they achievable?
Yeah. So when it comes to patients coming onto certain therapist caseloads here at Blythedale, it really is, everybody is excellent at what they do. There is not one person who would be, not worthy of potentially getting a case like Teresa's. It really comes down to timing and how your schedule is looking upon the arrival of a new patient. We get a very basic cover sheet from them about them from another hospital, and then we have an idea of potentially their therapy needs, how much time they might need from somebody, and then looking at everyone on the team's schedule, they're then able to decide, okay, this person needs to have the space to accommodate what this person might need at this time, and then it just goes from there, and then things kind of just fall into place. So it really was just a stroke of luck that our paths have crossed with me, Laura, and Teresa. And then when it came to deciding goals, in school, they do teach you, for physical therapy school, they do teach you what a goal should look like and how you need to write it. It needs to be in a certain format where there's a specific thing that you're looking to do, how long they're going to do it, under what conditions, and then making them for short periods of time and then long periods of time. So to start with Teresa, it was when she first came in. I remember she came with an army. It was mom, dad, stepdad was there, brother was there. I feel like there were some aunt and uncles there. I had to like wade my way into the room, be like, "Hi, I'm George. I'm going to be your PT. Let me get her measurements so I can start looking for a chair." So like first goal was, let's get a place for her to sit that's not the bed, so she can get out of her bed, and then eventually move around the room in the hospital to do that. So that was goal number one. Not only just finding the chair, but then can she tolerate the chair? Can she sit in the chair for more than just 30 minutes at a time before she has some discomfort or pain, or needs to go back to bed because her vitals weren't doing so well? So from as little as that to now where our goals are, she's going to walk independently with a cane 30 feet. Like that's, we go from just sitting in the chair for 30 minutes to now trying to walk 30, 50, 100 feet independently. And it evolves over those 15 months that she was here.
When you first met Teresa, um, what were the primary challenges that you would say she faced from a physical therapy standpoint?
Main challenges for her. I mean, she had some tight ankles. that's that's the
Yeah.
first thing that comes to my mind is how tight her ankles were, and the challenge I knew I was going to face with getting her feet into a position that she could then start to stand and weight bear and do things comfortably. Even if wasn't something that she was going to do that following week, I knew I had to get started on working on these ankles and getting them to as close to as neutral position as possible and beyond as I could. The other part is just the standard precautions. She came in with missing part of her skull. So just making sure being able to manage the safety piece of that. And she was pretty devastated globally, I would say. She had some movement in her right arm, some in her right leg. Now she's very strong there. But the left side was really not showing any signs of movement, despite my best efforts. So trying to think initially, how can I foster the strength and growth of her right side and development there so that way she can do as much as she can with that, and then trying to nurture and provide therapy in a way that when the left leg begin or left arm begins to get return, um, I can then continue to grow the strength there and develop there to eventually be able to do goals like ambulation, walking transfers, sitting at the edge of the mat, rolling in the bed. It's all the little pieces you take for granted or don't think about. She had to learn from ground zero and get back to where she was. But definitely her ankles.
Those ankles.
I'll have that
Yes.
in my mind forever. And I know Laura
Wow.
too. I remember when we put Teresa on that tilt table for the first time and she started to put weight through the ankles and get that stretch. Oh my God, she wanted to hit me. She was screaming. I had to like close the curtain. People were coming by. Is she all right? I'm like, I swear it's therapy.
Describe to us kind of those milestones that you're most proud of.
Yeah.
That's her.
I would say when she first started to get movement into that left leg, on control, on command, voluntary movement that was not just look like reflexive or like a
Yeah.
twitch. She was kicking that left leg. She was moving it with that connection from her brain to the muscles. Like that to me was the gates are open now. I'm like, okay, we got something. I can use my skills. I can do some neuromuscular education. We can work to make this as strong as we possibly can. And at that point, I didn't know where her limit would be. It's just starting. The brain is healing. The brain is incredible. The way it can rewire itself and find different pathways to do tasks that it once used to be able to do without even thinking, to now requiring a lot of brain power, a lot of work on her end to make it happen. And then being able to be like that coach um, for her to continue to do it and come with the game plan of how to do it. But it wouldn't have happened without her. Like she
Yeah.
really needed to put in all the work. And I've said it before. I'm not sure if Laura remembers me saying this, but I'm just the toolbox. I bring the tools. She has to build the house. I can't build the house for her. Nothing is passive in physical therapy. There really
Right.
is. You have to be putting the effort in, and what you put in is what you get out. And she really put in the work to see how she is now from what she was. It's a lot of work that she did.
What was that like for you, Laura, seeing the progression that your daughter had with George?
Oh, it was the best. And when I would start to feel like, oh, like, is this next big thing gonna happen? And then boom, it happens.
Yeah.
We're like,
Oh, so
thank God.
oh, sorry, Laura. I didn't mean to
No,
cut you off.
that's
Um, like just her just moving the leg was what really, for me, felt like opened the door and opened the threshold for her. But then there were the other moments, and for me, I find it really is more with family education that I'm able to show mom or dad or Mike how to transfer her, and then they do it themselves. So now they're getting in and out of the bed without having to call the team to do it. I remember teaching how to walk with Teresa, not like she does now, but with a lot more support before then. And, you had to make sure you were supporting her left leg a certain way, holding her arm a certain way, being your body safe so you're not hurting your back, and walking from the bed to the couch without me. And it's when I'm able to give off those moments where, okay, I know this used to be just something me and Teresa could do and required this special skill, to now, here, you take the reins, you do it with her and continue to progress her there as a team. Those were like the really big milestone moments whenever I could do that. And then stairs, walking, like,
and we would tape if like something, she would do something big, we'd send it to George,
hmm
before we know already. Like he'd be ready for it as soon as he come in, moved her leg herself.
hmm
And you probably, Laura, you probably learned so much about rehabilitation and therapies, like things you never would have thought that you were gonna know in your life before your daughter had this accident. It's just such a different environment and such a different way of life from here on out.
Some families aren't as lucky as we are to have a place like this to go with their kids, and they get sent home or they're in places that don't do nothing. And it's like, oh my God, I feel bad for that.
Yeah. What does it mean professionally and personally to see Teresa when she was ready to go home back in May, and just the progress she's made since being an inpatient? What does that mean to you?
I mean, it really is. People like Laura was saying, she didn't feel like there was too much fakeness around. Like everyone that I know that works at this job and comes in every day to be here with this population and do the work. Um, it's for that moment when you are able to give somebody back the things that they have lost, and things that they maybe thought would never get back. So to be able to, and unfortunately, I know it's a sore spot for me, but I was away in Texas when she was fully discharged, and she had that giant going away party. The news was there, everybody was there. She walked out with Mike. I was very heartbroken to not be there. I wish we could have maybe changed the discharge date, but no, it was time for her to go. I was there in spirit. I know I was. But to see it and watch her do that from the coverage that you guys did and on the news really made me very happy. I remember sitting around with my girlfriend and her family, showing them the video that came on the news later that day, and to see their faces, and then they see my faces and they see me start to cry, and they're like, "Oh, don't cry." It was a lot,
A
and
lot of emotions.
Yeah.
always, always.
Wow.
But it's excitement. It's more excitement because it's on to that next
Yeah.
phase.
Yeah.
And, you're closing the chapter here at the inpatient side and continuing to grow. And that's what it's about, is progression and growth.
Love that. And then for both of you, what's it been like working together as a team, as a family with the clinicians, to support Teresa?
Well, it's not just me. George is like attached to the whole family, or they're attached to him, I guess.
It's both.
Every
It's both. It's
and
mutual.
not, and all my customers and the community, everybody knows him. I wonder, does anybody ever say hi to you outside of here, George?
No, no,
Because
not that I've seen. I'm not around the area where you are, but when I came to Teresa's
in here.
benefit at the bar that time, um, a lot of people went. I guess I could feel the eyes looking at me, and then I went to go buy the shirt for her, and the person's like, "Oh," gave me a hug, and I'm like, "I don't know who you are, but sure."
And Laura, now back at home, you're continuing to get that support. I know you have a strong community, and you have had that, again, even before this accident, but would you say it's still there and you're still getting that support, that you need as a mom? And maybe what advice would you give other families who are going through a similar situation as you and maybe need to find that support? What advice would you give them?
We just happen to know a lot of people. You really
Mhm.
don't do that much, but it's nice and it's encouraging for Teresa. People come up to her, and say, I'm always praying for you. People are always asking how she's doing all the time, like every day, different people. But really, the own family, I was scared when she came home, like to just dress her and do all, now I'm a pro, I could work at Bison.
Yeah, well, and you also learned at Blithedale how to do
I
that. I
did.
mean, that's a
But
whole other
then I
program
just,
that we've talked about in our podcast. But that's
I
we
did.
we do that for our families.
But I was still scared when I came home and I didn't want to be alone with her. And the first, like, I think the first night home, I didn't have help yet for the first like 2 weeks and I had to do it. Oh my God. And I did it. Yeah.
You did it,
And now
of
it's
course.
just like my everyday thing,
Yeah,
shower, whatever I have to do. Getting her in the car,
unbelievable.
taking her out. She's come far since leaving.
Sure.
George said
Yeah.
it though. He goes, when you get home, she's going to improve even more because she's going to be home.
And what
Yeah.
does
Oh,
Yeah, go
sorry.
ahead, George.
I was to say there's just something about that environment. Like, yes, of course, being here on the inpatient side is necessary at certain points, and then just you start to see the changes in the progress, and then you just, as a therapist and a lot of times the healthcare team, we just see and feel that, okay, with the progress that she's made so far, she's safe to go home. Getting her out of this environment where the nurses are a call bell away, or there's things that are kind of just taken care of that you don't have to think about, can start to hinder the progress, where then you're home in the wild and you're like, exactly like you said, Laura, oh, I got to figure this out in the 2 weeks that I don't have the extra pair of hands that I may need. And then they take off further. And it's just really like a way to kind of have a silver lining to that. Oh, I'm afraid to leave, but we're not going to send you out unless we think it's going to be the best thing. And I'm
Yeah.
glad you got to see that firsthand.
It was a little weird being home.
I mean, she
Back
literally
home normally it was different, you know,
drove off, and I mean, you had to get her in your new, equipped vehicle.
that and
Um,
just the whole just being home period.
Yeah.
I only stayed home like 2 nights a week, sometimes three.
What would you guys say Teresa's story highlights about the importance of specialized pediatric rehabilitation? I'm curious to hear it from your side, Laura, as the mom, and George, your side as a therapist.
There is the opportunity for immense growth and return of function that could not happen anywhere else outside of this type of setting, what even pediatric, I know specifically pediatric, but even for adult rehab where people can totally potentially skip this part, go home at a much lower functional level, and then require much more care down the line. That could be more of a burden on the healthcare system than if they were to come for this, 15 months for you guys, but maybe 6, 7, 8 months for other people. Um, it may seem like a lot at the moment, but afterwards, they're able to do so much more. She's able to walk around. She has a much less aggressive wheelchair that's more functional and is able to manage more things for her health that is going to benefit until she's, 30, 40, 50 years old, where if this crucial moment for rehabilitation to occur after an injury is passed up, that burden can become a lot more. Also, just with health in general, the body, just following an injury, the time for things to try to improve or heal is a small window after an injury.
Right.
So being able to get their head start right away, start implementing things that we know can help the brain not regenerate, but reform pathways to try and communicate with the body in a new way following the injury and damage to the areas is crucial. And if that is taken away, it can really limit people's potential for the future. And they may not get as far as they could if they're not given the opportunity because you never know.
You never know. Laura?
Well, I even right now, like I'm not rushing to get her out. Some people are like, she can graduate and like, no, we're gonna get as much as we can for her. It's important. I don't want to change it up or try anything different. I do sometimes on my own, but we're not gonna leave twice. So
You said earlier on in the podcast you could have chosen between a few facilities. You chose Blithedale. For Teresa, such a complex case, yes, she needed to be in a place like Blithedale for inpatient. But I guess some patients can make that decision not to, or
I don't know if kids really can. Adults kind of can, but if it's not safe for them to go home, I don't think they allow that. And you have to be able to, you have to meet certain requirements to go to the place like that, as opposed to something different. It's like if she couldn't do a certain amount of therapy a day and it wasn't okayed by doctors, and then she couldn't go there.
right.
So we started to do some ourselves, a little movement, a little whatever, just like moving her arms around her legs, keeping her hand open, just like I want her ready to go.
What do you hope listeners take away from hearing about her journey?
Not to give up. Sometimes it doesn't always go the way we hope. It's not the same for everybody, but I read a lot of things. I think this podcast will be great because I wish there was more for me to find, more videos to watch, more happy endings. I didn't really start doing this with Teresa till I knew we would have a happy ending.
Mhm.
So I didn't want to disappoint because that's what helped me. So it's not just for like us, obviously. A lot of
Right.
people say, this has helped me so much. She's so strong, just ideas, whatever, I know it helps and it's important. People need that. That's what I wanted. That's what I looked for all day.
When you say, she's had a happy ending, describe that. Like, what does the happy ending look like for you?
She's alive. She's happy most of the time. Sometimes she gets mad. A lot of times she gets
She's a
mad.
teenager.
Yeah. Just being able to like talk and express herself, advocate for herself. She's getting better like every day and she's here, and we could talk and hang out and like do stuff together.
I love it.
Not like, not like I said, it could have been worse. You just don't know.
You don't know. Count your blessings.
Not done. We're not even close.
George, would you say that this was regarding Teresa? Are you proud? Do you feel like you've accomplished those goals we talked about? I mean, or how are you feeling?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I think being able to step back for myself at least, and I don't know if this is a good or bad thing for me as a professional, but I just always want more. I just want a little bit more. So to be able to step back and think back I at where she came from and, realizing, okay, yes, she couldn't really move in the bed, couldn't even roll in the bed, couldn't come sit up. And now she's walking with a cane and I'm just kind of close by to her, maybe a hand on the shoulder and mom and Mike at home doing the same thing. She's able to do all of these things and have her life back. It really is um amazing, just absolutely amazing. And I know Laura likes to give me a lot of credit, but it really comes back. I will reflect it all back onto Teresa that if you don't have that passion, drive, and willingness to do the work, then it doesn't, you can have the best therapist in the world and nothing could change. So, and the
Right.
support system as well. Like if you guys weren't doing the work and Teresa putting in the work, then it could have been for naught. So it really, as much as it is for me, I put it back on you guys. I can't really take much of the credit at all. It really comes from you.
Well, we had to learn, George.
Yes, I had to teach you, but if you didn't
And
want to learn,
you were willing to learn.
exactly.
You
Not
had
just
that
us, but the
determination from the
parents should.
beginning.
You can't just sit there and just be like, you gotta you gotta do more. They only allow so much, but we do it now at home more. Whatever we go with George still, he shows us things to do. We go home, we do them, and she wants it bad. She is never, I don't think she ever complains
Mhm.
about like, doing the work.
That's great. All right. I have one more question I want to ask each of you, and this is something I ask all of my guests at the end of our podcast. Might be the hardest question yet, but how would you describe the meaning of hope? There's no right or wrong answer.
To always have it, being positive unless you're told otherwise,
Mhm.
to always be on the up and up, hopeful, think positive, not negative, try to be happy and smiling because that's what you bring around that situation. People like, aren't you mad? No, never. Because this can happen to anyone. We have to be grateful and being hopeful for the best. I mean, maybe I never felt any say I was hopeful the whole time and I feel like I've gotten almost everything I've wanted so far with her. Um so there's nothing I was really hoping for that didn't happen.
Mhm.
Maybe I thought it would happen faster in the beginning, but then as I learned and read a lot of reading and learned from therapists in the hospital like how these things are, I understood it better. I just thought she's alive, she'll be home by summer walking, she'll be back to her. So I had no idea anything in the beginning.
If I had to describe it, I think it is the willingness and the fortitude to continue and never give up when you're trying to achieve something and looking for the best thing and the best outcome. To me, that is what hope is. It's just never, like Laura said, it's really just never giving up. That is what hope is.
Yeah.
This the striving for it, and it has to come from within. It's not something that someone can give you. You have to have it yourself.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
Awesome conversation. Is there anything else either of you would like to add?
I'm hopeful that this next phase for Teresa is going to be one that is of continued growth. And again, it's not me. I know you want to say it's me. It's everybody here at Blithedale, everyone in the physical therapy department, all the rehab departments. They work extremely hard, and their heart is in it. And you will get out what Teresa's going to put in, and if she's gonna when she works hard like she is and continues to, I have no doubt.
George and Laura, this was an excellent conversation. Thank you for your time and for just opening up and sharing a little more about Teresa's journey of hope. And we hope that everyone listening enjoyed the conversation. If you have any idea for any future subjects, we'd love to hear from you. You can email us podcast@blithedale.org. So thank you so much for listening, and we will see you next time.